Okay, everybody, we're gonna start talking about our next project, which is soapstone carvings. Soapstone, it is a stone. It's very soft, so don't think that you're gonna be hammering and chiseling. We're actually gonna just work with our small file sets and then use a little sandpaper for smaller areas and clean up. The point of this project, everybody's gonna do two carvings. You're gonna do opposites. So whether that's opposites attract or opposite is straight opposite. For example, I chose to do the largest land animal and the largest sea animal. So the opposite is where they live, but they're still the biggest. So they have something in common and something that sets them apart, kind of the opposite factor. So you could do like a tree blooming versus a tree that's in fall, the leaves are falling off or it looks dead. That might be something like something big versus something small. Hot versus cold, day versus night, sunny versus moon. That's kind of your choice to figure out how you want to play around with that, but you do need to have some sort of relationship between the two items. So I already did one of my carvings, it's a whale, and I picked my soapstone on purpose so it looks a little bit like barnacles on the surface. When you're picking your stones, you kind of want to make sure they relate to what you're making. So mine here, I have my drawing on there already, but I'll just show you kind of on this back side. When you get it wet a little bit, so I have a wet paper towel I just keep nearby, it's pretty gray, and elephants are gray, so that's why I selected the stone that I did. Okay, so after you've picked your theme, and then you're gonna pick your stones, then you're gonna need to make your designs and draw them onto your stone. So I've already done mine, my little elephant here. It's kind of tough to see on there, but I did make sort of a larger picture of it right here. So really rudimentary, larger, think larger, bigger, simpler shapes. You're kind of gonna have the idea that it's an elephant, but it's not gonna look like a fully realized elephant. That's not realistic in this size project. And that is in the helpful hints. So step-by-step directions, you'll see me refer back to my computer. I have it up and I will push that out to you guys so you have the same information. Basically, you're gonna pick your image, pick your soapstone amulets. I do have a reminder on there to keep a wet paper towel nearby so you can see the fully realized color, what it will turn out like. You're gonna lightly draw your image with pencil on your stone, and then before you start committing to carve, if there would be an area where you'd require a hole to be drilled, so less work, right? But you'd also be able to then get inside of an area to make a hole bigger or make a hole a different shape. For example, on here, I have an eye hole for my whale right there. Some of these amulets have holes already drilled, so you can use that to your advantage. Some of them don't, because you might not want a hole. Moral of the story is if you do have an area that would require you to have a hole, you want to drill those first, because soapstone is not a super consistent material. There are softer pockets, and in those softer pockets, if you drill and you come across it, you might end up cracking, breaking, or chipping your stone in that area. You might then decide you want to pick a different stone to work from. So we always do the drilling first. After you have your holes drilled, then you're going to go to town with your filing and your sanding. I personally like to work on a bench pin because I have more access in this small little area here. Allows me to get the files in, and I can work with those. Let's remember when we are working with our files that the cutting area is from the tip towards the handle. Whether you're working, whether you're working up or down, it's always going to go towards the handle. And then as you work with these, you're gonna become clogged on your files. And that's just the way it is. It's a soft material, it gets stuck in there. So you can just brush it off. If you're wearing jeans, you can just kind of give it a couple brushes on your jeans and it'll come off. So it's a rougher surface. You can use it like a paintbrush. There's usually paintbrushes all around the room. Or if it's really clogged, come up here and grab the file brush. And so you just brush this on both directions in the grooves to get rid of the clogged file. Remember, you're keeping your own kit of files, so it's you're the only one you're inconveniencing if you don't take the time to clean them out. And if you don't, they don't remove the material as efficiently. So you're making your life harder. I personally chose to do a full through cut. So I'm gonna cut, the areas are gonna be completely removed, and I'm gonna do that with just my files. I could probably drill a series of holes in there to make my life easier, take the material out quicker, but you don't have to. It works really well. The files will remove the material quick. So then you just kind of go to town filing in your spots that you're going to be removing the soapstone from. Something I want you to keep in mind. This edge starts flat. I am going to round mine out, kind of like this. So it's rounded off instead of squared. I'm gonna remember to do that as you carve. So as you're removing the material, I'm gonna kind of work in a circular motion. So I'm gonna go around the edge, kind of nipping at the corners, okay, to round that out. If you like the flat, then you need to be mindful with your files that you're filing flat. On top of just cutting out this rudimentary shape like I've done here, you could also do something with a surface carving. Now these files, some of them have points, not all of them, but some of them have points or corners that you could work with. So let's say, I'm gonna set this project aside for a second. Let's say I'm gonna do the Heart of Te Fiti from Moana. That would be more of a surface carving. I'm probably not gonna be able to take my files and make that shape when I'm working flat. You're gonna have to work with the tip. And then it's more of just almost like you would with a pencil, kind of carving in there to achieve those surface carvings or surface lines. And again, the material does become removed very quickly. So those are your two options for carving. I usually end up addressing both of those in a project. My elephant and my whale just ended up being a little bit more straightforward. So keep those things in mind. Surface carvings are welcome. You just would use the tips of your tools, and then continuously clean out your files so they're actually doing the work for you. Let's see. At the end of this, once you're finished with all of your carving, you will take a piece of sandpaper really quick and just get rid of any of the uneven parts. Then the last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna spray these with a clear acrylic spray. And we only do that because we want the soapstone to be sealed so that as it rubs against things, it's not losing material, but also it'll help bring out those natural colors of the stone. So it'll look just like when you wipe your stone with the water or a wet paper towel, it'll bring out those natural colors. It's really tough for me to do with this camera to get it to focus on that small stuff, but I think you kind of get the picture. I'll leave it at that, and obviously I'm always here in class when you're working to answer questions.